Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from the City Council, news on the last Republican debate, news from Sacramento about ending daylight savings time, presidential polls, other campaign news, today's gas prices, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitney. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, Wednesday, the Ridgecrest City Council will hold their first meeting of March. Here's a preview of the agenda. First, they'll do a presentation of Employee Service Awards. Then they'll receive a presentation by the Ridgecrest Area Convention and Visitors Bureau of the annual Petroglyph Festival and get an annual financial report. Items for approval on the consent calendar include approving compensation plans for mid-management and confidential unrepresented groups of employees. Next, the Council will consider adopting a change order in the amount of $38,000 with Willdan Engineering for additional design, right-of-way, and easement acquisition services on the Downstreet Widening project. And then the Council will consider adopting an agreement with Willdan Engineering to provide construction management in the amount of $51,000 for the installation of a traffic signal at the intersection of China Lake Boulevard and Bowman Road. Next, the Council will consider adopting a new 2016 City of Ridgecrest federal drug and alcohol testing policies and guidelines for employees. Next, they'll consider adopting a resolution authorizing submittal of application for payment of a grant for the fiscal year 2015-16 for almost $8,000. The grant is to be specifically used for beverage container recycling and litter cleanup activities. Next on the agenda, the Council will consider approving a contract change in the amount of $9,000 with JTS Construction for the Kerr-McGee Restroom Concession Project. And finally, on the consent calendar, the Council will consider approving the purchase and installation of sliding entrance doors required for the new electrical doors at Penny Pool in the amount of $9,500. It would be great for handicap access. The next part of the agenda is for public hearings. First, the Council will hold a public hearing and then approve a resolution establishing a finding for unmet transit needs that are reasonable to be met with the public transportation system. And the final segment of the meeting for the discussion and other action items, these are the most important ones on the agenda usually. First, the Council will have a discussion of the grand jury final report concerning the City of Ridgecrest and Joint Powers Authorities. And the final item on the agenda is a discussion of vendor advertisements on the military banners. So that's what's on the agenda for Wednesday evening. If you have a comment on these items, come to the meeting at 6 o'clock in Ridgecrest City Hall. So what did you think of the Republican debate last Saturday evening? All I can say is wow. The debate was hosted by CNN and Telemundo. What most of the watchers tuned in to see was the candidates get grilled on their stance on the issues. It started off that way for opening statements. Opening statements started off okay. Then all heck broke loose. With the first round of questions, it was very apparent Rubio and Cruz were on a tag team attack on the frontrunner, Trump. And the attack stayed active all through the debate. While many of the Rubio and Cruz supporters and political pundits were all saying they expected to see the attack, no one expected to see such a vile attack. Ultimately, the story from the debates was just about the attacks, not the issues. Carson and Kasich tried a couple of times to get the discussion back to the issues, but Rubio and Cruz were not going for it. In response to the attacks, Trump held his own very coolly. After the debate, pundits praised Trump for his control during the attacks. But after just a couple of attacks, Trump lashed back out at them both. At times, they wouldn't even let Trump speak. This was a result Rubio and Cruz did not want. While Rubio tried to hit Trump on his lack of details on health care, Rubio offered little more than Trump did on his plan to replace Obamacare. Cruz tried to be tougher on illegal immigration than Trump and Rubio, and then Rubio tried to shout down any answer Trump would offer. Pundits ultimately describing that Rubio brought the debate down to elementary playground politics, and Cruz doing more personal attacks on Trump than a college hazing. So, Just as I now comment about the debate in the terms of the conflict, Rubio attempted to tear Trump down with childish antics and personal attacks. Cruz even alluded to Trump holding his tax returns from release as he's possibly hiding fraud and very embarrassing information. Trump's answer is that he is not releasing his tax return until his 12th government audit is completed. While the IRS and others say he could release his returns anyway, which is true, the reason he would not do that is if the audit resulted in changes to the return. If changes were made, then the initial release would not be accurate. And then the report of Romney calling for Trump to release his return now, and this is from Romney that didn't release his own tax return until September? Rubio lowered the attack to calling Trump a con artist, that he isn't a conservative. While Rubio said that the party welcomes converts away from liberalism and the conservative side, he believes Trump has not really converted and is conning the party. Rubio offered no facts to support the attack, only innuendo and his opinion. Trump asked Cruz why he has not gotten a single endorsement from anyone in the Senate or any leading politicians. Cruz gave his standard fight answer. Truth is, the establishment Republicans do not want Trump or Cruz to be the nominee. They want Rubio. And now, after all this vicious attacking, Trump the very next day rolls out more endorsements. Giuliani has already endorsed Trump, and then Trump introduces Governor Chris Christie that provides his endorsement. Then he announces endorsements from former Arizona Governor Brewer and Maine Governor LePage. Another endorsement comes as a surprise. Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions endorsed Donald Trump for president on Sunday, just 2 days before that state participates in the first multi-state primary day. He said, "Wow, what a crowd this is," Sessions shouted to a crowd of more than 30,000 in a high school football stadium in Madison, Alabama. "I told Donald Trump, this isn't a campaign, this is a movement," said the four-term Republican who is one of the leading conservative voices in the Senate. Look at what's happening. The American people are not happy with their government. So some say, you just need to let the people calm down a little bit and they'll get over it. That's not what's happening. Should we forget it? No, we should not. Pundits commented that Rubio and Cruz tried to hurt Trump on debate day. Trump immediately comes back with more news that drowns out the debate results. Stay with us. After the break, we'll talk about the Democratic campaign. Thanks for staying with us. On the Democrat side, the election in South Carolina went as the poll numbers predicted, and even worse than the numbers for Sanders. He really got hit hard there. Clinton took 75% to Sanders' 25%. Sanders is now moving on to more states where he holds a chance of winning. This includes Minnesota. Clinton is glowing with the win and now going on to Super Tuesday. She is now declaring it is no longer a local race but a national race to the White House. Well, now that the weekend is over and the polls start coming in, they start showing potential impacts of the last Republican debate. The polls show virtually no impact from the debate. While Cruz is leading in Texas, his home state, Trump has sizable leads in Tennessee, Georgia, Virginia, Massachusetts, and many other states. But a huge poll came out this morning from CNN. They released their latest national poll. On the Democratic side, it shows Clinton at 55%, Sanders at 38%, leaving only 7% undecided. On the Republican race, it shows Trump taking a huge lead now. Again, this is a national poll. It now shows Trump at 49%, followed by Rubio at 16% and Cruz at 15%, with Carson at 10% and Kasich at 6%, leaving only 4% undecided right now. Trump has a 33-point lead over second place. This clearly indicates that the pundits that predicted that when the Republican field got smaller, all those supporters would go to Rubio and Cruz. Well, that isn't happening in the numbers that they predicted. And with Trump almost reaching the 50% position, it has Rubio and Cruz and their PACs bringing out all the attacks they can muster up. Unbelievable things are coming out now by two desperate candidates that continue to sink. I mean, terrible things are being said by supposition and innuendo. Clearly, Rubio and Cruz are scrambling, and the establishment Republicans are seeing red. They still don't get the anger that mainstream America has against the establishment in Washington. Well, Tuesday is the day a lot will be determined. So what do you think about getting rid of daylight savings time in California? Well, there is news of a new bill introduced by Assemblyman Kansen-Shu, Democratic out of San Jose, to do away with daylight savings time in California. Hence, Assembly Bill 2496, which would end the practice in California, undoing a law that voters approved back in 1949 via Proposition 12. At the time, a ballot statement in favor argued altered summertime hours would bolster public health and industrial efficiency by improving worker safety, limiting juvenile delinquency, saving water, preventing car crashes, and aiding farmers. Reversing the electorate of 1949 would mean going before today's voters and asking them to make the change, assuming the bill passes. This could be a very controversial one, Chu said, but when he informally polled constituents, he said, "The results are very positive. I heard some complaints last year from some of the senior citizens in my district and their care providers who say this 1-hour difference really impacted their lives," Chu said. So he did some research. The results cast daylight savings time in a negative light. There's evidence it's correlated with an uptick in workplace accidents, he said. There's evidence that it does not limit energy consumption. After instituting daylight savings time in 2006, one study found Indiana actually used more electricity. Opponents claim farmers as allies. If people in the cities want daylight savings of 1 hour, the businessmen and industries should decide to open their stores, offices, and plants an hour earlier and close an hour earlier. The opponents wrote, this would not disrupt the clock in any way and would allow farmers and other groups governed by the sun to keep a normal, year-round schedule. Legislators in several other states have submitted bills either abolishing daylight savings time or proposing to put the issue before voters in recent years. Hawaii and Arizona already abstained from adjusting timepieces. California should also be leading this change, Chu said. I cannot believe that anybody would like to do this fall backward, spring forward thing twice a year. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll get ready for Super Tuesday. So what is Super Tuesday, you ask? Super Tuesday, March 1st, 2016, is the biggest single day for presidential candidates to receive delegate. Elections are held in 12 states and 1 U.S. territory. The day is a turning point in most presidential election years, typically serving as the key indicator as to who the nominees will be from each party. The states involved include Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, and Virginia will hold primaries for both parties. Alaska will hold its Republican caucus, while American Samoa will caucus for Democrats. Colorado will caucus for both parties, though only the Democrats are choosing a candidate. Republicans in Colorado have opted to select delegates only, and then let those delegates choose which candidate to support at the National Convention. In all, 595 Republican delegates, about 25% of the total number, are available on Super Tuesday. Republicans need 1,237 delegates to win the party's nomination. Democrats need 2,383. The states involved in Super Tuesday also represent about 130 so-called super delegates. These are Democrats who are not pledged to support the winner from their states. These are generally seen as the establishment delegates. They vote the way the party wants them to vote. The people's vote means nothing to these super delegates. The vast majority of super delegates have already pledged support for Clinton. So get ready. Tuesday will be an exciting day in presidential campaign. Now in KZGN's continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's gas prices for Ridgecrest and some surrounding areas. Well, since my last report last week, what is going on with gas prices? All the prices have jumped, and jumped a lot. The industry reports the reason for the huge jump is that they are switching to the summer formula for gas. A new formula is used during summer months to fight air pollution in California. The interesting thing being noted is that the new formula only costs about 3 cents per gallon more to produce than the winter formula. But we're seeing price jumps as high as 30 cents some places. The people are wondering why. Anyway, local prices went back up to over $2 again. Here are gas prices for Ridgecrest, Lancaster, the LA Valley area, and Bishop. We basically saw a 10-cent jump from last week. Ridgecrest's lowest price is now $2.09 per gallon. But note, Ridgecrest still has the lowest prices in all the areas we are monitoring. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, an area of low pressure will bring accumulating snowfall on Monday from portions of the Midwest and Great Lakes to northern New England. Along with snow, a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain will make for treacherous travel in these locations. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 63, Georgia at 67, Arkansas at 65, northern Texas at 73, Arizona at 78, and Los Angeles at 63. And for us locally, tonight, mostly clear with a low around 44, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Tuesday, sunny with a high near 81, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Tuesday night, mostly clear with a low around 43, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 79, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low around 45, south wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 76, west wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, partly cloudy with a low around 41, west-northwest wind 15 to 20 miles per hour. And Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 74, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
So that's the news for today. Also, KZGN-TV, know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk coming up next.